Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and today I'm going to be reviewing John Carpenter's Escape from New York from 1981.
If he climbs over the wall, they'll blow him off. If he tries to fly over the river, they'll shoot him down. If he comes back alone, they'll explode his brain. New York, 1997. One man has 24 hours to break in and break out before it's too late for escape. John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Rated R.
Escape from New York stars Kurt Russell, Adrienne Barbeau, Charles Cyphers, Donald Pleasence, Tom Atkins, and is directed by John Carpenter. The plot of Escape from New York is basically, at this point in America's society, this whole entire state of New York has been transformed into a maximum security prison. And I guess the people of Congress hires Kurt Russell character, Snake, to go and rescue the President of the United States, portrayed by Donald Pleasence, and as they try to escape the New York maximum security prison. What did I like about the film? Honestly, I did like seeing all those different people that I'm now familiar with John Carpenter's films, like Donald Pleasence. In fact, this was the first Donald Pleasence type movie I saw that wasn't any of the Halloween films. So I was excited by that. Like, here's the thing, I went into this film completely blind. I did not watch reviews of this said movie. I did not know anything about it except for the title and who starred in it. For the most part, I knew Kurt Russell starred in it, but I had no idea who else did. So it was like when the credits played, I was really excited seeing all those names I'm familiar with in there. So that was pretty cool. And I will admit, I do like the atmosphere of this movie. Like, it still has the same type of atmosphere as in Carpenter's other movies. I think the music is okay. What did I not like about it? Honestly, for me, now not to say this movie's bad, like Hellraiser Revelation's bad, or the Fog remake bad, which I found out Carpenter wrote the script for that damn thing, so I will say this was the weaker of his films that I've seen so far, at least the ones he directed personally. For me, it's like, it has great ideas, great concepts, but the story and characters not so much. None of them are interesting. In fact, honestly, the acting in this, from all those people, like, and I know they could pull off great acting, but for me, this had to be their weakest performance I've seen in any movie. For all of them, that includes Donald Pleasence. I mean, especially Donald Pleasence. His character had not much to do. And, yeah, his character was pretty forgettable, in my opinion. And honestly, I feel like Donald Pleasence was miscast. It's like, I don't know, I just didn't bought him as being even that role as the President of the United States. I just didn't bought that at all. And he didn't have much to do in that movie anyway. Like, he was barely in it. And when he is in it, like, I can't even remember a single line of dialogue out of him. Like, I remember tons of dialogue from Donald Pleasence in the Halloween movies. And that's probably because he gives off a much better performance as Dr. Loomis than as the freaking President of the United States. And also you got Kurt Russell's Snake, which honestly for me, that's also another problem. He's just not that interesting in it. He was more interesting in The Thing than he was in this. And honestly, I feel like a lot of these characters were miscast. I felt like these characters were mishandled. I feel like they could have had so much more to do in this, and this was meant to be, I think, an action movie. And honestly, I just felt like John Carpenter overall so far does better with horror than other genres from what I'm seeing. And this is the first non-horror film directed John Carpenter movie I've seen. And I would much rather watch the original Halloween, The Fog, the original Fog, not that crappy remake he wrote the script to, and his remake of The Thing. I would much rather watch any of the, like, I would watch any of those movies before I pop this in. I would say, for me, the only reason I would pop it in is, because honestly, I will say, it does seem like a good movie to sleep to. I'll give it that, because honestly, there's supposedly a lot of action in this movie, and all the action scenes are just dull. Like, seriously dull. Like, I was seriously falling asleep during the movie. Like, I was seriously close to. And plus, to me, it just seemed all calm and everything. Not much going on. With not much stuff going on. The action being dull. And everything. That, honestly, I kind of wanted to take a nap during then. I really did. So, I'll say it's definitely a movie I would probably pop in just to sleep to. Also, let's talk about the music. Even though I thought I liked the music fine, I still have issues with it. For me, the music is honestly also the weakest of Carpenter's music so far. I actually got a few of his CDs. In fact, most of the CDs I got were done by John Carpenter. Now, all these CDs are from the Halloween franchise, and that's Halloween 2, which were done by John Carpenter. Even though I didn't really care for the music in Halloween 2, I felt like it was, like, not as good as, I don't know, I guess it was just a synthesizer thing. I think it was a bit too much. But I would still much rather listen to this score for Halloween 2 than Escape from New York. Got one for Halloween 3. Would much rather listen to this than Escape from New York. And I'd much rather listen to the score for Halloween 2018 than for Escape from New York. And speaking of which, I do plan at some point getting the soundtracks to his other movies, especially for The Thing and The Fog, which I would also much rather listen to music for those than Escape from New York. It's just very forgettable music to me. In fact, sometimes I feel like the music is reused from his other movies. Like, there's a certain cue in there that me and my brother, when watching it, it was also his first time watching it. He went into it completely blind. And it was his second John Carpenter directed movie that he saw. He only seen the original Halloween at this point. He and I may watch The Fog and The Thing together, so even he noticed that some bits were very similar to the Halloween theme, like there was a lot of cues that were similar to Halloween, and I don't know, to me it's just compared to Carpenter's other movies, it just felt like there was no passion put into this at all, from anybody, and the ideas are very interesting and everything. But it's just the execution, not so much. The characters aren't that memorable. Seriously, are you ever going to remember, Kurt Russell's Snake compared to Kurt Russell in The Thing? Or are you going to remember Donald Pleasence as the President of the United States over, Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis? So, no, you're not. At least I'm not. I would say their other characters were much more memorable than this. I would even prefer Tom, I think even Tom Atkins was more memorable in My Bloody Valentine 3D than he was in Escape from New York. And again, the biggest problem for me with this film is execution. Again, the whole idea of it being in a future in which the whole entire state of New York is a maximum security prison and everything, that's an interesting concept. Like I said, me and my brother were much more interested in the world John Carpenter was trying to build with this movie than what was going on with the plot and characters. And honestly, basically I would say it had interesting ideas, but it failed. The potential was just not there. At least from what was shown on screen. So with that in mind, I'm going to give John Carpenter's Escape from New York a 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was okay. My brother actually did like this movie better than I did. He would give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Honestly, for me, and then afterwards we did traded DVDs. I traded Escape from New York for his DVD copy of The Green Mile, which is another Stephen King adaptation I'm looking forward to. So probably would review on this channel, but. And here's the thing, I've kept most of my John Carpenter DVDs. I may give them away after I get the Scream Factory's collector's editions for them, but yeah, honestly, to me, Escape from New York is the weakest of John Carpenter's movies I've seen, at least the ones he directed. Out of the ones he's been involved with personally, the weakest for me by far would be the 2005 remake of The Fog. Fucking hated that movie. But yeah, overall, as far as the ones he directed, this has to be the weakest one. Now, not to say it wasn't awful, like the Fog remake, but it wasn't good either, like as good as his other works. And honestly, I heard they're supposedly going to remake Escape from New York, and if there's any Carpenter directed movie that I feel like could be in use of a really good remake and actually develop those ideas and concepts and world building a lot better in execution, it would have to be Escape from New York. So that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.